Riverbend Talent on the Big Z, brought to you by Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance and also Halpin Music Company.
Yeah.
Of Matt Van Voorhis and Mr. Hand.
Mr. Hand, Mr. John Hand, always at the counter ready to help you with your musical instrument needs.
We love you, John Hand.
We do love you, John Hand, and Matt Van Voorhis.
Yeah.
A couple of handsome men right there.
Well, I heard Matt Van Voorhis has a Mr. Hand puppet. I don't know if it's true, though.
Oh, it's true. It's true. I saw this middle of the road puppet show where he just goes out in the middle of the road and does puppets. It's dangerous. Oh, dangerous work. Oh, those are our sponsors, Halpin Music and Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance. Thanks for letting us stay on here and do this for so long, because otherwise we wouldn't get to do cool things like bring Tracy Inman in to not only talk about his new album, It's About Time, which we will discuss, but also Paralinked.com, which is the paranormal social media page that you run. So, welcome back to the show, Mr. Tracy Inman.
Thank you for having me back on.
Yeah, so last time you were on, you had a couple of songs.
Yeah. Well,
I think you had 2 songs.
Yeah, I'd gone down to Nashville and just met up with the guy down there, and we did On Facebook was the name of the song, and Daddy's Girl, and he started saying, hey, you have any other songs, you know? So I started thinking about it, and over the years I've written a lot of lyrics and stuff, and then I started writing some newer stuff, with like the TTYL song that they have on my hat here, and I thought, what the heck, might as well do an album. So I got 10 songs together, went down there and ended up recording them over a 6-month period, and that's what It's About Time is.
Yeah, and the first so you started off with the On Facebook song, which it was you ended up getting some love on that, getting some spins and some plays on social media and on different streaming places.
Yep.
And was it Daddy's Girl? Was the other one?
Yeah, Daddy's Girl was released to Christian music, and it got some spins, but I'm actually considering releasing it to country music because it's more of a country song. But it's also a family song, so I thought, release them both at the same time and just see what happens.
Yeah, there you go. And so those 2 songs, you had so much fun, got enough response.
It's a blast.
You decided to dig through some old lyrics, write some new lyrics. How'd you go about coming up with the other 8 songs?
Man, it was challenging to kind of, you go back to when you're like 19, 20 years old, and you pull out some lyrics and you're like, man, first of all, what was I thinking? Okay,
Who wrote this?
Yeah. So then, I just started thinking, man, there's a couple of decent ones in there. So you go through and you change the lyrics on it,
right.
A little bit here or there, just kind of react with it. And then this I'm Drunk Again song, which is on there, and TTYL, I thought, man, that I just wrote them, and it's amazing. Like, you listen to different artists throughout the years, their like best song is written in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Their lyrics, they got them right there. The Outfield, for instance, John and Tony got together, and Your Love was written in 10 minutes. Believe it or not, they just got together. He had the lyrics just coming out of his voice.
Yeah. So
those 2 songs right there were just came right to me, and man, if you guys ever get a chance to listen to I'm Drunk Again, it's a bumbling song about a guy that's just drinking. It's a good old drinking song. It really is. And TTYL, that came to me, and I met up with Adam down there, the producer of the album, and he's like, man, let's make this kind of a kick butt song. And we had kind of a Jason Aldean feel to it, and then a Dierks Bentley feel to it at the same time, And he's like, we ought to do a music video for this. So if you guys ever go to YouTube, you can look up Tracy Inman official video for TTYL, and it's actually a pretty cool video, to get to go down there and I'm standing on Broadway, singing the song, and people are walking by. You can see me pointing at people every once in a while, just kind of joking around with them. But yeah, man, it was really, really a great experience to make that album.
All right, TTYL.
Yes.
What is
Talk to You Later?
Talk to You Later. See, that's Facebook link.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I started there's so many songs out there, millions and billions of songs, right? And I started thinking, man, what's something that possibly the younger kids could get into? And, you know, the acronyms, you know, the T2I, I actually created one called DBAH, Don't Be a Hater. If you listen to the song, you'll hear it back and forth. And the day I did the video, I got this hat made at the Opryland Mall down there. I'm walking around Broadway, and people are coming up to me, man, love that hat. I'm walking into stores, love that hat, T2I. And then on the back of it, you know, it has Tracy Inman music on it. They're like, what's Tracy Inman music? So I was able to introduce it to them right there,
Nice.
you know. But man, it was a good feeling that, you know, people like that T2I, they just kind of latched onto it. And the promoter promoted it on his Facebook page, AOK Records. .com or excuse me, the Facebook page AOK Records, and it's got like 10,000 views on it. I put it on my own YouTube page, you know, and it's gotten a lot of views on there too. Just been pushing it, you know, hoping that it either continues to grow or gets picked up or anything like that, you know. It's a blessing for sure.
Nice. Now you would, you know, we started off saying how when you came in a year ago, you had the 2 songs, Daddy's Girl and On Facebook, and I just out of curiosity, you know, did you take old lyrics? And you said, oh yeah, we were discussing how you kind of came across it, and you said something that kind of stuck with me. You said, you know, you write stuff when you're 18, 19, and you look at it and it's different, and I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You dig out an old notebook or an old box of stuff, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
But that takes me back to how long have you been writing songs?
I've been writing, since I was about 17, 18 years old, and never really put anything into fruition really until like a year ago. Had a family, you know, for you know, obviously I still have a family, but you know, I was in a different state for 20 years.
Raising kids.
Raising kids, yeah, you don't think. But the song "If This Is Heaven," that's on that album. If you guys get to listen to them, that might be one of the next releases. It was written during the time I was with my kids when they were growing up. Now you're thinking it's probably a song about heaven, but it's not. It's really it's a rocking song about something else. When you listen to it, you guys got to check it out because it's actually, and it's a shorter song and it's really cool. But my kids, you know, they were there whenever I got it back from Nashville. I actually sent that one off in like 2000 or 1999. And when I got it back, it was completely done. I was working with people for the music through the phone. I didn't go down there to record it. What I did was they sent me back a recording of somebody else singing it, playing acoustic guitar to it. So I thought, well, that's pretty cool, just like Daddy's Girl.
Okay, let's pause for a minute here and just help kind of fill me and the listeners in on how this is going about. So when I said, how long have you been writing songs? You said since 17. Now, were you writing lyrics or also writing music with it?
So I write lyrics. I get melodies in my head, and we discussed this the last time.
Right. I'm trying to help fill in people who are listening.
Yeah.
So you write the lyrics and you come up with the melody and you sing the melody.
Yeah.
But you're not really coming up. You're not necessarily putting guitar chords to it or keyboard, you know, piano. You're just singing.
Yeah.
You're writing and singing the main melody of the song.
Yeah.
How the verse goes, how the chorus goes. Now you record that sometimes, and we'll send that down in Nashville. But in this particular instance, you just sent them the lyrics.
Yeah, so this was like 1999. I forget the name of the company. I'd never published anything or done anything before, so I sent them the lyrics, and they put acoustic version to it and sent it back to me.
Nice.
At that time, you know, so I played it, you know, for family and friends because I was just as a songwriter as far as the lyricist goes. And then when I did this album, I thought, man, I want to pull that back up. And the same thing with Daddy's Girl because they were both written at the same time. I'm going to pull that back up and see what other kind of music I can get to it. Now, you brought up a good point. For people out there that are lyricists, there are now more avenues of getting your lyrics put to music. You know, I can play 3 chords on a guitar. I can hit a couple chords on piano if I'm lucky. But can I sing at the same time? No. You know what I mean? And bass, I kind of fiddle with that, but not good enough to really be that good. But but there's avenues down there with the internet, with Facebook, all this stuff that's popped up, that you can work closely with a producer to get that sound that you want. And that's exactly what I did. I sang lyrics from a long distance FaceTime, messenger, stuff like that, to where they got the music into their head about how they wanted to do it. And then we talked about different versions of the songs. And I was very, very happy with the music that he provided, that group provided for me. So when I went down there to Nashville, I went down like 8 times. When I went down there, the music just needed tweaked when I got down there, because we had discussed many times on the phone and stuff how it should sound. And so I heard the music before I got down there, and I was able to put my voice to it, in the shower, stuff like that, just trying to figure out where do I come in at this. And I'd call and say, hey, where do I come in? And we would talk about it, right?
All right.
And man, it was just really a cool experience. So if you guys are out there and you are lyricists, there are avenues to get stuff done. AOK Productions in Nashville is one of those avenues that you guys could contact.
Is that what you used, AOK?
Yeah, that's who I went through.
Okay, yeah.
But there are many of them out there. And, nowadays, if you already have a name, you're going to get your stuff recorded for free, all that. But don't expect it to just be free to do that, right? They're giving you studio time. And you're going down there, you're not a name singer or anything like that, so you have to pay for the songs up front. But I was thinking it was going to be like outrageous. But this guy here, and the album sounded good enough, or sounded good, that the price really wasn't that much.
Okay.
It really wasn't.
You want to fill us in? Because now I'm curious.
Well, I don't know what his
Roughly.
prices are now, because it was over a year ago.
Okay.
It's roughly between, I think it was $500 and $700.
Okay. So under 1,000.
Yeah. So like I did 10 songs, but I did it over an 8-month period.
Right.
And I'm very fortunate, where I work and stuff like that I was able to pay it. But to be honest with you, even if I wasn't, I still figured out a way to pay it, just because, you think about this, we talked about this last time, God's the ultimate legacy, but I want to leave a legacy for my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandkids, the family members I'll never, ever meet. But maybe this will make them want to get out there and do something too,
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I like what you the way you kind of reached out to other lyricists, because I know quite a few people who write lyrics, but they're not musicians.
Yeah.
And they're, I know Dennis has probably had the same thing where people come up to you going, hey, I got these lyrics, will your band do it? But you got your own stuff. So this gives the lyricists who are out there who don't have a band, who don't play, it gives you a way to get your songs into a musical form, even if you're not a singer, even if you're not a player. Like you say, you sent them the one song and they sent you an acoustic version back with somebody else singing even.
Yeah.
Somebody else just took your lyrics and then they and your melody and put it to a tune. And the way that you had done it, again, interesting, talking to the people who write lyrics out there and don't know necessarily where to go with it.
Yeah.
As you said, you did most of this over the internet and over the phone.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's not like you have to be down in Nashville for a month to make it happen, or you said you made 8 trips, but I bet you could have done it in less if you were really on a budget.
If you're on a budget, you definitely could.
Yeah,
it was fun to go down there, go hang out on Broadway,
Sure.
Stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. And then went down and did the video for TTYL. That was another trip down there, but the song was already made, so that was just down there doing a video, so it was pretty cool.
But and we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute too. But the spinning these couple of songs into an album, you go back, you start rewriting some lyrics, and so now you're FaceTiming with Adam. Who what's Adam's name? Adam
Knight.
Adam Knight. What a
Okay.
what a regal name.
Yeah, okay.
So Adam Knight, who's the producer you're working with from AOK Records.
Yes.
And you're FaceTiming with him. You put some lyrics together. You sing them to him. Is he the kind of producer who's coming back at you, making suggestions on arrangement, on how to?
Yeah, for the most part, it worked out pretty good. But when you get down there, you have nothing to do but really just tweak the stuff out.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And they've been in business, that company in particular has been in business 25 years.
Uh-huh.
I did research before just for all the lyricists to know, I didn't want to get scammed or get
Right.
money, because you don't know.
No, you don't.
You don't. They just say,
Sure.
hey, pay me. But it worked out good in that instance. I would highly recommend him. For it.
Okay, and so like you just said, you went down there and that you just had to tweak it a little bit when you got down there. But leading up to that, from the moment you say FaceTime him and sing him the lyrics and sing Adam the lyrics and the melody, I'm sure he records that.
Oh, yeah.
FaceTime, he now has a recording of you singing it. So now he's starting to arrange the song and put chords behind it, put a chord chart for the
Yeah.
verses, for the choruses. And are there? I'm sure there's multiple calls between you and him discussing it
Yeah.
before you ever really lock into the final arrangement.
Agreed. Yes.
And then not even necessarily the final arrangement, but close to the final arrangement. After
Yeah.
multiple calls and multiple FaceTimes, you finally then you go down there.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
the final tweakings, and then do you lay your vocal tracks while you're there?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I lay them down. It takes 10, 15, tries,
Right.
and then and you mix it and make sure you got the best sound.
Right, which is usually the first or second one.
Yeah, typically.
And you're like the 10th and 11th one's
You're
just so
tired.
stale.
You're like,
Yeah, I don't even believe myself anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that Richie Valens movie, The La Bamba, when that producer's got him going like all day on one song, and he was so sore when he was done. But no, it wasn't that bad. It was fun. It was a great experience. I mean, it made me feel good to know that I was creating something that other people were going to hear. With even getting FM play on radio, and people buying it off of Apple, and even Spotify, getting the plays on Spotify. I don't know what's going on the last couple weeks, but it's been jumping up quite a bit, going down a little bit, then jumping back up. So I don't know if it's from the radio play. But, just to know that surpassed any expectations for me, man. I just went down there to do something for my family. And it's led up to this. Now, am I going to make $1 million? Probably not. Am I going to, but to me,
Can I borrow a few?
yeah. But to me, success isn't fame and fortune.
Yeah.
Success is living up to your standard that you set for yourself.
Well, and I've had this conversation recently with a few people that, really the only one you're in competition with is yourself.
Yep.
To do better than you did last time and to try and figure out how to make it more enjoyable to you and the people around you. But, music's one of those things that it's the ear of the beholder, we'll say. You never know what someone's going to like. You never know what's going to be the next big song that does make $1 million.
Yeah.
And what was the little shark bite song that came out a few years ago that all the kids were singing, and it was just the goofiest.
Baby Shark.
Baby Shark, yeah. And you never know what's going to have all the kids.
That's the field to get into right there. If you want to make a quick buck, if you had a good catchy song, man, you got it made.
Oh yeah. It's sitting that hook, man.
kids.
Sitting that hook.
Yeah.
So how did you meet Adam? Was it that you reached out to AOK Records and they sort of paired you with him?
Yeah, well, no, I reached out. He's the owner.
Oh, he's the owner. Okay, there you go.
I ended up seeing something on Facebook, asking for hey, send us your stuff. Let's see what we can do, basically. And like I said, I started researching at that point in time because I didn't know if I really wanted to do it, or the lyrics even good enough. But I knew the On Facebook song was kind of a hip song, for nowadays for this time.
Right.
And I just reached out to him. I talked to him for a while. I asked him. He doesn't give out the names of the people that he's worked with. He doesn't like to do that. But when you go down to the studios, you see he's really into Christian stuff too. So you see gospel. You see a lot of gospel items inside of the studios. Like one song on their Old School is a cover of a John Conley song. Well, he's actually friends with John Conley. So John Conley actually reached out to him, told him how good that I did a good job on his song, and it was appreciative that I did a cover of it.
Nice.
So that was we updated with the guitar and stuff when we did it. But yeah, that was cool that that guy, I was singing the same place that guy who his last hit was in like 1988, right? But he had a lot of hits back in the day, 70s through 80s. But it's cool that I was sitting there singing the same place as him and a few other people. So
Yeah, it is a weird, like, walking in Sun's studio and
Oh, yeah.
standing where Johnny Cash sang, and it sounds silly to say it, but it's still, for a guy like me, it gave me goosebumps.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah, I know what you're
so
saying.
that's pretty cool. So let's talk about it. So you end up going down. You got the whole record going on. You got and you go back down to shoot a video.
Yeah.
How did AOK Records set the video shoot up, or did you have to hook up with someone else for that?
So I was just reaching out to him because we were deciding on what song to release next, and go through Play MP and CDX to release it through to the radio stations. And I was like, well, what do you think? And he's like, well, TTYL is a really, really good song. I think that's your next one that you should release. He says, but it's his idea. He said, let's do a video for it. So he set it up, and it's like a month and a half later, right at the release time, I went down there to do the video. They did the whole video. They shot it all.
Nice. So the AOK set that up, because I'm thinking in my mind, like what you were saying. Okay, so you it's a pay to play situation where you gave them what they want to make your album for you, and they got the musicians, they got the arrangements, they got the equipment. But now for them to go the next step and say, hey, let's shoot a video, because that's a whole nother a whole nother expense to
that brings it to life.
Well, but it's a whole nother expense to a crew too, because now you've got cameras, which, I mean, we all know that people can shoot with their phones and it looks pretty good. You can shoot with GoPros, but usually
they had a big camera.
I was going to say, usually when they're shooting videos, they're sending out big cameras that cost quite a bit of money, and they usually have a cinematographer who's carrying that camera that has been trained how to use it. And then they had to edit it and all that. Yeah, and then so that's was that also like a pay to play situation? Was that
I had to pay, but when I looked around a few months before that, just kind of getting prices to do videos up here, because I was thinking about, just before he even brought it up, thinking about maybe doing one for Daddy's Girl or something like that, and the prices up here were like, I couldn't find anybody to do it halfway cheap.
Up here
in this area, St. Louis area, yeah. So when he was talking to me, it wasn't that big of an expense in order to get that song out.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and that song, the video, the edited part, there's a girl that's in the video, but I never met that person, so I didn't know how the whole video was going to end, whenever it came out, and if you look at her, she's just saying basically, talk to you later, looking at her phone and laughing at me because I'm because person's texting her, and that's what the song's about, right? So the song's basically, a guy meets a girl, right, takes her home, she leaves, and then he keeps trying to text her to get a hold of her. She doesn't answer her phone, so he's texting her and all that, and she's just completely ignoring him. And she's just telling him, talk to you later, don't be a hater. It's actually, it's a shorter song too, and and nowadays people are, the attention span and all that's the shorter the.
I'm sorry, what were you talking about?
Yeah, I forgot what I was saying. But yeah, no, it worked out good.
Nice. Well, because when you brought that up earlier, I made a little note to ask about the video, because, again, I always interested in how to make things happen, and when you hear that there's affordable ways to make things happen, it's always fun. We had a group in here a while back that all of them took a video class at the local college, and you have to make a video. So there was 4 of them, so they had 4 videos for their album at the end of this semester, and didn't cost them anything, but they got to use nice equipment to make it. They just all had to go through the class,
Shout out Lewis and Clark Community College.
Yeah, I mean, and it is anytime you hear an inexpensive way to pull off production of anything, whether it's a live show, a pre-recorded, album or video, it's like, okay.
Yeah, this sounds extremely reasonable from prices I've heard over the years and different things. Now, the recording industry is extremely changed over the years, but back in the 90s, I remember getting quoted $100 an hour,
Oh yeah.
$150 an hour. Now,
That includes setup time, bro.
right, yeah.
While you're setting your drums
Oh,
up, it's
yeah,
150 an hour.
I mean, so the prices can be all over the place, and was that per song in the five?
Yeah, that was per song.
So yeah,
So I researched other places, asking them for the same kind of deal. Hey, what would you do to work with me to get music to this song? And the least expensive one that I found out of like 15 of them was $4,000
Wow.
per song.
yeah,
You know, so I contacted this guy, and like I said, the research, I just went down there to do 2 songs, see how it sounded, you know, and we talked and all that, and got a good sound. But until you're there doing it, so my suggestion is if you are a lyricist, go down there to try just one song if you have the money to do it. And number one, you just made a creation.
right.
You know, you can call yourself an artist to an extent, right? And it's something that people are going to remember you by. It's worth every penny
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
to do it. Yeah. And you know what? If it, you know, they would even sing it for you if I remember correctly.
Right. Yeah.
So, and it might even be a little bit less expensive to get your song done. So,
Oh wow.
you know,
Because they want to sit there and listen to you sing, I guess. No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
yeah, no kidding.
Well, they
can do
They
it
probably
at their
look at it
pace.
like their studio musician's not going to spend as much time.
Right.
They're going to come in and just lay the track down. This is what they do
Yeah.
all day, every day. A take or two, and they're done. You know.
You know, you listen to my CD, and it's amazing how many guitarists are actually on there, and all the little things they're doing. And you're listening to the piano and keyboard, and you're listening to the drums. And you know, I have a band now that you know we're all getting ready to go out and hit some spots locally for a while. But even they're like, man, it's amazing how many different, you know, aspects to the
Right.
song. I have 3 guitarists, right? And you know, they're listening to it, and they're like, man, there's like 5 or 6 guitarists in there that just came in there and busted it out. And I went down there and I saw 4 or 5 guitarists on a couple of the songs,
Yeah.
you know. And there's sometimes I went down there where you just tweak it on the board, you know. But there's
Yeah.
other times you're like, hey, we need to adjust a little bit here or there with the real instrument. You know?
Pretty amazing. And once again, those guys not cheap to hire.
No,
I mean,
no, but
if you're doing that yourself, so I mean, really, you know, $500 to $700 per song, and then you know, a
You
few
got all those people
$100
to
for the
pay.
video. If you
Yeah.
just do one,
I mean, yeah,
like I said, that's less than $1,000 or right at it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
and those studio musicians knock, you know, 10 or 12 songs out a day, you know.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
them, it's
Like I
nothing.
said, it's nothing to them. They're used to being handed chord
Yeah.
charts and going okay and making it, you know,
Yeah.
putting their own shine on it or whatever. So.
Yeah, I was very happy with the professionalism that was on that. On that
Nice.
CD.
And
And
that's
now that you've come on our show and told the world about this, you know, Adam Knight better look out, because a lot of these guys
Yeah.
sitting around with a pack of lyrics like
I
Pigman
did.
over
Give
there,
him a
I can
call.
see him. He's twiddling his thumbs right now. He's like, I can't get my band to like record nothing with me, so I'm gonna
Yeah. You know, and-
not quite, but so.
you know,
no,
yeah.
that's
He made a good point though earlier, because he's right, man. Being in bands forever, you're constantly like running into your buddies who's only jotted down a few things on a piece of paper,
yeah.
and they want you to, you know, produce that song, and you read the lyrics and you're like, I'm not feeling this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And the things you're writing, you're feeling,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So it's not an easy thing to do somebody else's lyrics and song.
Yep.
You know, it's hard enough doing your own.
Right.
You know, for guys like me, Pigpen.
But and this is a great outlet for lyricists
I
to
think
see their art come to life
Yeah,
without having to, you know, put a band together and find a guitar player and a drummer who's willing to spend the time to learn the tune and make it their own. You know, you know.
and really, I'm thinking of the time he spent compared to the time they probably spent. He probably spent a lot less time than they did
Yeah.
working out the song. You know, he's just humming a few bars and, you know, throwing an idea out, and then they're coming back with work.
Right. Well,
Right?
so he's you know Tracy Inman will have the lyrics ready. So that could span over, like you say, some stuff you started when you were in high school, but now you're kind of polishing them up, making them new. And so you put some time into your wordsmithing.
Yeah.
But literally, like Dennis is saying,
Once
when
you
it
got the
comes down,
words.
Yeah.
yeah, and once you've got your lyrics down and your melody in your head, now you're just singing it to them, and they take it and make it come to life, and that's something that most people are spending many hours convincing guys to come back. Look, I know it's stupid, man, but you know, I mean, convincing guys to keep playing your song over and over until they learn it.
One of the best pieces of advice I got in the early days to a recording was, that we're paying per hour, right? Yep. So you best be rehearsed when you get down there. Now, were you able to rehearse these things before you went down there?
Oh, yeah. Like they'd send me what they considered the final version. And I would figure out where I come in. Like I said, I'd contact him with any questions, and then we discuss a few things. Then we tweak it when we got down there.
Right.
So I'd listen for a month to the thing to make sure I know where. There's a couple songs there I was like, man, I don't understand this. Where am I supposed to come in? Where am
finding the one, man? You got to find the one, man.
Exactly, but
which is interesting perspective from his side, because like he said, he's like, I can bang out a chord or two here or there, but timing and singing at the same time and all that, which we know from doing it for years and years and practice, it doesn't come overnight.
No.
So I mean, just singing a song like he's talking about takes some preparation. And so you put the work in, and then when you went down there, you're feeling way more comfortable.
Oh, yes.
Right. Because just walking in a studio, you kind of get, star eyes and like, oh, wow, what am I doing? Is this going to actually work out? The nerves are there a little bit. And
it can be intimidating.
Right.
Because especially if you haven't gone through it, or you've only gone through it a few times and it's a new studio, whatever it is, it can be intimidating because you're walking into an unknown.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And again, if in this particular situation, we've got a wordsmith, Tracy Inman, a wordsmith and a singer, but not necessarily an arranger so much. So when you have to figure out, it's 8 bars in that I need to start singing for it to time out, that it ends at the change that's going into the refrain or into the chorus or whatever it is,
But,
and if you haven't wrote it that way, I mean, when you write the songs that way, you can kind of, you know when it is. But if you, as the wordsmith, and then they send you this recording, you're going, do I start now? Oh, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Do I start now? Oh, that didn't work.
So the great thing about that too, for the lyricists out there too, is when they sent me the recording of just the music, you're trying to figure out where you come in, but you're also thinking, hey, maybe this would sound better with a different word here or there.
Yeah.
So before you go down there, you've already changed. Like there's like 5 of those songs. There's a couple parts in the chorus I completely changed when I got down there. Then talk to them about it before I did it, and they're like, "Well, yeah, that does make sense." So that was So
instead of saying I love you, I'm going to say I don't love you.
Yeah. You can't count on me.
Well, and what he's getting at too, sometimes it's rhythmically the way the word comes out. Matters a lot.
The
as a lyricist, you're not going to know that so much, but as a musician, you're going to know there's timing involved. There's too many syllables there, or there's that type of
you may have, as you're singing it out, you may realize, wait a minute, I have too many words, and it's just so many words, and it's all jumbled together.
And that's the timing we're talking about there. That's a huge part of laying down a vocal track, is to have it timed out. And that comes with how many syllables you're trying to throw in a phrase.
I was going to say proper phrasing to make it flow properly and end at the end of the bar, or end at the moment you want it to end. Because sometimes you don't start or end right at a bar.
Right.
No,
but most of the time.
I try not to at all.
I was going to say, I like to go against the grain sometimes.
Well, I'm going to
constantly do, and that's why all my songs suck. But,
Well, I'm going to tell you what, we're doing, we do covers in the band as well, and it's like trying to figure out the bars on that, and the guys get on me a little bit like, hey, you got to come in at this part, and I'm like trying to tap my toes, nod my head to figure out where I'm at,
Yeah.
But the more and more you play it, obviously, the better off you are, the more you understand.
So introduce us to your band.
Okay, so it's Tracy Inman Band is the name of it. So Stu Sinks, he's from the Brighton area. He's been in a Revolver. He was in an Alice in Chains cover band for a while, and just an all-around really, really good guitarist and a super nice guy. So he and I I did an acoustic show with him at a campground over the summer last year. He was nice enough to reach out to me and say, hey, you know, I like your songs from the CD, because, you know, he had spoken earlier, both of you had, about, you know, who's going to play your songs, right? So I thought, you know, I was going to be doing this alone. That's 100%. I thought, man, I'm going to be making all these calls. You know, the promoter's going to be doing whatever. But if somebody says, hey, you got to come out and play for us, why don't you open up for something? I'm like, holy crap, what am I going to do? So he was he just offered it up. And I was like, you know, thank you. I'm very, very appreciative to him and the other guys in the band. They've learned 3 or 4 of the songs so far, and we're going to work in all 8 to 10 of them. You know, by the time we're really out there playing and doing festivals and stuff like that. So Stu Sinks, Matt Odom, he is from Meadowbrook. He's a really, really good guitarist. He's the youngest member in the band. We're all a bunch of old guys, right? I'm 54, they're in their 50s, except for Matt. I think he's 39. But he's a really good guy, really talented guitar player. Joe Marin, he's from Brighton as well. He's our 3rd guitar player. And Kenny Lee is our drummer. And his last name is, I had to ask him tonight what his last name is, because I've always just called him Kenny Lee. It's Landort. Kenny Lee Landort. He's from Piron. He makes a drive from Piron twice a week just to practice with us. He's dedicated it, and he's really a good drummer.
That's putting some miles on the car.
That is putting some miles on the car. And you know, we currently are reaching out for bassists. We've already played out, but the other bassist ended up getting a different job. So we're reaching out. So if anybody's out there that likes to play country music, and bass player, obviously.
So did you recruit all these guys through Facebook, or how did it all come together?
You know, it's weird, because Stu is friends with Joe and Matt, and I've actually played with Matt before, and I'd met Joe a few times. But Kenny Lee I met on Band Mix.
Okay.
I met him like 7 or 8 months ago on Band Mix, and he was trying to put a band together up in Piron. At his place, he's got a garage that's set up with all kinds of stuff in there. And I went up there, and they had a couple other guitar players that were up there, and it just didn't pan out. And then when Stu had reached out to me, I was like, well, you know, I do know a drummer that we could give a try. And he's like, yeah, you know, bring him along. So we brought him in, and he's done a good job.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Doesn't always come together that easy, does it, Pete?
It often does not.
So
I was surprised.
How long did it take you to put all that together?
To put the actual band that we have together right now?
Yeah.
It took a couple months.
Yeah. That's great. And I seen you guys played at Tri-County. Was that?
Yeah, the Gun Club there,
Right.
back in March. That was our so far our only gig, right? Our bass player a couple weeks before that said, hey, I got a new job, I'll play that. But after that, I won't be able to play anymore. So we decided just to hone our skills and get together, and we had like, I think 40 songs under our belts, you know.
Nice.
That sounded pretty good, but they didn't sound awesome, right? We're a high energy band. We're out there to really entertain people. The people that saw us, they really enjoyed it. That was awesome. They came up to us, asked for an encore, you know, stuff like that. But we are now at the process to where we have a lot more songs under our belt. We're looking to bring a bassist in to help fill that in, and then we're going to start really going out there playing.
If somebody wants to audition, they can go to TracyInmanMusic.com and hit you up there, right?
Yeah. Also, Tracy Inman Band on Facebook. That page, Tracy Inman Band, that's the preferred one.
I think he keeps bringing up on Facebook because that's...
Oh, I saw that. Well, we laughed about that before.
He gets a nickel every time someone says it, man.
Yeah, I wish, that'd be awesome.
They can also catch up with you at
Paralink.com. Yes, sir.
And that is a whole separate entity that you have.
Yes.
It is a paranormal social media.
Social media website, similar to other platforms out there, social media platforms. Very, very easy to use. We have a couple thousand members. I think we talked about this before. A buddy of mine, we just came up with it. We're like, hey, let's put it out there. Since then, he's moved to Kentucky. Now he's moving to Texas. So he takes the server with him. So that's why we were able to be free. We don't have to charge people any fees because we own everything. We own the server. We own all of that stuff. So, you get the hiccups every once in a while. There's horrible tornadoes last week in Kentucky right by where he was, so we were down for like 3 days.
Yeah.
But in order to be free,
Right.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
We're always looking for more content. We would love for people to join. There's a lot of different things on there. You talk about cryptids, you talked about, spirits. There's different categories on there. There's newsletters that we're been working on, getting ready to start to send out to everybody in the email. And you don't have to give your name, right? You just give a email address and a password. You set up your own profile. We don't ever know your actual name. The only thing we know is your email address. So if you lose your password, we can give you the password, stuff like that. But I highly recommend everyone to check it out. Not just because I own it or one of the owners, right? It really is out there. We built it for the community. That's why we wanted it to be free for everybody. Now, I know you follow the paranormal a little bit.
I do.
I'm not sure how much you follow, but
He follows me following the paranormal.
there's so much negativity out there. On one hand, but on the other hand, it's growing tremendously over the last couple of years. I mean, it's just tripled in size, quadrupled, whatever. And this here, we build it for people to be able to discuss what they want to discuss. We're not out there for negativity. We kind of have a vote off the island mentality, red flags that people get on there and they start talking politics or they start bashing other people,
Now, what if it's paranormal politics they're talking?
Well, agreed. Well, all we want on there is to talk about paranormal.
Right. That is
That's
the point of it. It is a social media
Yes.
that is directly connected to the paranormal, which is why it's paralinked.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the things that are discussed? And you said there's newsletters and
Yeah. I mean, people can come in. You can post just like you post on Facebook. People can comment. They can like it. They can send private messages.
Right.
You can share it to other social media sites. A little share button. But most, I post my podcast on Wednesday nights. I do a podcast. But I post that on there. Other people post like Paracons, for instance. Hey, we have a Paracon coming up in July at this location. They post questions. A lot of people post evidence. We have a.
That's what I was going to ask, if there's some video that.
So what we did was about 6 months ago, we added the ghost cam. What people don't realize with the ghost cam, you have up to 1 minute to record whatever you want to record, and you can record it live. You can record it. You're recording it straight from your phone. So if you have evidence, you could take something that's taped and go through the ghost cam also, right? But if you're out there, you want to give a shout out for your team, hit the ghost cam. I've done examples like we were in Nashville, me and my wife, I'd hold it up, do the reverse thing and say, hey, Tracy and Kelly here from Nashville, Tennessee, giving a shout out to to this team or that team. But that's, people have been posting up to 1 minute of their evidence, which is awesome.
Yeah,
it's their own TikTok is what it is, right?
Right, and everybody in the group can kind of, give their 2 cents on what the video is, and, maybe someone else has recorded a video and got the same thing and knew that's just a dust. Yeah. That's a piece of dust.
And there's also, I agree, and there's also a category for evidence, so people post on their evidence too,
nice.
In that as well. The ghost cam is just a pretty cool feature. It's like a TikTok, but for the paranormal.
Well, and in addition to it going one way where you can go, someone posts something that says, look, I found this weird orb, and someone says, oh, that's a piece of dust. I went down this rabbit hole. Yeah. It can go the other way.
Right.
Where someone posts something and says, look, I saw this weird thing happen out in the desert, and someone else goes, oh man, I was in that same desert 20 years ago, saw the same thing.
Yeah.
So you never, it works both ways.
It's cool because, you're teaching people how to do paranormal investigation just like you're teaching people how to take their lyrics and get a song made out of them. So I think that's outstanding. I wanted to talk about, you're saying you distributed some radio stations. And I wanted to know how you went about that, and because there's a lot of people that are trying to figure out how to get their song played. So you got any advice there? One of them was CDX, I think you mentioned.
Yeah. So my promoter, this is all through him, right?
Right.
He's also the producer, Adam. He handled all that for me. He went through, I believe, CD Baby.
Okay.
He has his own account with them, and he throws the songs into there. And then he chooses the release, and that release goes out to Play MPE, or CDX, which are two platforms that can be that typically they do all streaming and everything too, but those are the two platforms that, from my understanding, are reliant for radio play.
Okay.
Those are the two. Like I call local stations, just trying to get them to play the song, and they're like, well, what platform's it on? I'll say Play MPE, because if say Spotify, they're not going to play it. They want it on a certain platform, so they're able to look it up through Play MPE or CDX, and they're able to download it and listen to it at that time.
So CD Baby's the digital distributor.
Yes.
But these two places, CDX and Play MPE, are actually sending it to radio stations like this place, not like, I guess, streaming stations as well too, right?
So I don't know that they're sending it to them so much, but if the radio station for sure was to look into it, that's something that's a platform that they go, yeah, that's legit. I'm going to do that. Where everybody's on Spotify.
Yeah.
If you put your CD out and you say I want it on something, everyone's on YouTube. Everyone's
CD
on Spotify.
Baby does Spotify.
So they
CD
do.
Baby does YouTube.
Right,
and Apple.
but for an extra cost,
Right.
you can get on what are the two that you said?
The Play MPE or CDX.
CDX, and I'm sure like for an upcharge, they put you on those.
Yeah.
Now you're considered legit by the radio stations.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if I'm just calling in anywhere and just trying to get them to play a song, if the guy's nice, he might ask you to send in an MP4, or no, MP3 of your song, and might consider playing it or at least listen to it. But the days of just taking the record into them and saying, hey, check it out if you like it, play it.
But like you say, so just for the listeners out there who are trying to learn, just like we are, you pay CD Baby to produce and distribute your music, so you can get CDs from them. You can get you're on Spotify, you're on Apple Music,
there's 500 platforms that you're on.
It's so hard to grow up with all these new streaming devices coming out.
I tell you what, it's
I
crazy.
feel so sorry for the kids.
Right.
Anyway,
Plus, think how hard it is to stand out amongst all those, because every day somebody's releasing, not just one person, like thousands of people are releasing things every day to the same exact place.
So that is what Mr. Inman is teaching us here. So as we've come through the music world, a lot of musicians said YouTube and the internet gave away the industry, because now record companies aren't what they were. And other people went, oh, whatever, we don't have to bow to the old rich men with the cigars. We can write whatever we want. But it's also a flooded industry, hard to break through. This is a way. If you pay CD Baby to make your CDs and put them on all the streaming devices, that's great. But if you really want a radio station to take you serious, you have to pay the upcharge to get on these other two. That now they go, oh, this is the gold package. This is the people who are trying to really stand out, and it is one thing that can make you stand out to a radio station. All the years of working in radio, I'm just learning this today.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
I'm interested too, because we went through CD Baby, and there was a platform that they were trying to get us to pay for plays. And I felt like it was a scam, and I've read up on it that it's a scam, that you're not really even getting played, that they're basically just taking your money.
And so telling you're getting played. Yeah.
Right. There's stuff like that out there. So to try to figure out which is the right one. And like I said, we went through CD Baby. It came from them. And the more I looked into it, I'm like, this is like a pay-to-play thing that's not really playing to anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, these places have to have audiences. Obviously, Spotify has an audience, because we've heard tons of people have their stuff on Spotify. Yeah. But what we've learned is the way to get noticed on Spotify is to get on these individual playlists.
Absolutely.
That members of Spotify have created.
Well,
and they've got their own following, and you're mixed in. Now, that's more like the old school radio, where you're getting mixed in with other popular things.
So I've had this conversation with my wife, who is a Spotify listener, and she'll say, okay, so she searches Tyler Childers. Okay, so now they're sending her Charlie Crockett, and they send her all. Why are these particular artists being chose to be sent? Well, they're on the upgrade.
Oh yeah.
You know, so that immediately gives them the upper deck, because we've discussed this amongst our. You know, how is it that they choose who they send you next when you know, when I say Sturgill Simpson,
It's all about the money, baby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what you put in, you get
know
out.
what the Berenstein Bears said?
Yeah.
Follow the honey.
All right.
Yeah,
Right.
there you go.
And you know, but that's what's interesting about this conversation is that, as I told you, like the one that was asking me for money, I didn't trust,
Right.
and still don't to this day. But he found one that worked.
Yes.
So trying to decipher which of those,
Yeah.
you know, is just a whole nother.
Which is why we've dove into this particular conversation, because you've hit something that we talk to a lot of people about, and we're interested in getting down to the brass tacks, as they say, and figuring out, you know, how the new music industry, how to maneuver through it, because there's always new hurdles and there's always new things that are happening, and there's always new scammers trying to just take your money, and from what we've seen, you have found a way that works.
Yeah, well, the producer, you know, Adam's actually the one that
so Adam Knight, who is the owner of AOK Records in Nashville, has found a way that works.
Yes,
you were smart enough to listen to him.
Right.
Yeah. So
and recognizing a good idea is pretty smart too.
Yeah.
And once again, you know, he chooses CD Baby, but points out that CDX and Play MPE were the right places to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, but you can't, and I don't know if it's changed or not, but at that time, I, as an individual, I tried to sign up for Play MPE or CDX, couldn't do it.
There you go.
You need a record
had to be
company.
sent from CD Baby to get on to that.
So now that we're into that, so do they hold rights to your song, AOK Records? Okay,
No, so I own.
You own publishing.
I own 200%. It's weird. So BMI is who I joined right after I did on Facebook. And
you got to have ASCAP or
good
BMI.
move.
One of the two.
Exactly.
BMI is a good one. Yeah.
And through them, you know, it gives you, you know, you have to sign up for all that stuff, and it asks for the royalties 100% for the songwriter, which was me. And then the publisher, so I was like, hey, Adam, are you the publisher or not? He says, no, you own the 100% of the publishers too. So you put it in, it comes up as 200%. That's why I say 200%.
Like I said, I hope Adam Knight's ready for this onslaught of people that's going to be getting a hold of him.
But hopefully people do get a hold of him. It's interesting.
Just me personally, I've got like 6 albums I want him to do right now.
You've had 6 albums you've been planning to do for 60 years.
Yeah.
So.
I've had people reach out to me over the last 3 or 4 months asking the same thing you guys are asking.
Yeah.
But main thing I do is I just tell them, hey, AOK Records is who I used. I have contact.
That was your smartest move.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great advice.
It worked out very well for me because I'm very proud of the album and the music. So I'm very blessed. And like I said, if one person listened to it, it already surpassed everything. One person outside of family, right? Because family's got to listen to it.
Right. You have to listen. You don't have a choice.
I listen to your stuff. I listen to you talk all day. You gotta listen to my songs.
So the new release is It's About Time, TracyInmanmusic.com. And you mentioned a podcast earlier. Is that the Bigfoot Outlaw?
Yeah, Bigfoot Outlaw. I've been doing it for over a year now with a guy named Grizzly Chris. You go to YouTube, look up Bigfoot Outlaw. There's a lot of recorded ones out there that we've done over the last year, but every Wednesday there's a live one. Grizzly Chris, look them up at either Grizzly Chris or Bigfoot Outlaw on YouTube. And it's also on the Facebook page for Paralink.com as well. I go live with it there, and it's on my Tracy Inman Facebook page as a live on Wednesday nights in this area at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
One of our local cryptids in this area is known as Momo, the monster. Yes.
Really?
Have you heard of Momo?
No, I never have.
Yep.
Yeah, Momo the Monster. Yeah.
Momo the Monster.
I believe it might have started just over the river.
Louisiana, Missouri.
Yeah, Louisiana, Missouri. Yeah, it started over the river there.
Not far from Hannibal.
No.
Right.
No.
So what does it look like?
Bigfoot is what
Really?
it sounded like to me. Just from there's a giant hill there, and this goes back years ago. What, 70s, 80s? I don't know how far back. But
70s for sure.
But he was seen, or she, on this hill that's in the middle of Louisiana, which has woods and different things. And so lots of people came from all over the country and visited Little Louisiana, Missouri
Yeah.
In
to
search
try
of
to
Momo.
find this thing
Yeah.
because of the hype around this sighting. So that's why I brought it up. And Six Flags even had
Yeah, had a ride.
had a ride called Momo.
Momo.
Oh, okay, yeah. But it was an octopus, which
It didn't make any sense to
Yeah.
me.
you know the octopus ride.
Right, but
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it
know
made
what
sense
you're
because they could have 8 cards on it or whatever, but it didn't resemble what I had heard as Momo.
Right.
This was Mimi the octopus.
So there you go. There's one. I figured you knew that. That's why.
If there's an octopus in the area chasing people, that would be really odd.
Well, so a friend of mine did just see a bull shark right over in Ellis Bay a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
They've been working their way up from Louisiana, slowly adapting to the fresh water, and they're all the way up here now.
Louisiana, Missouri.
In the Louisiana.
We have a link here. A paralink.
Yeah, it's a Momo shark.
We have a paralink.com.
Momo the bull shark.
There you go.
Everybody got it wrong. So it was somewhere in between Sasquatch and an octopus,
Yeah,
which is a bull shark.
Yeah, bull
Everyone
shark.
knows
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
that's
that
it.
goes without saying. That's simple math. That's
Yeah.
simple monster math right there. Hey, well, thanks for coming down and talking to us again. Thanks for all the information, because seriously, any lyricists out there, or even people trying to figure out how to get a recording done,
Yeah.
this is, even if you have the full band, this sounds like Adam Knight knows what to do to help you out
Right.
from get-go. So, man.
Or maybe Tracy Inman wrote some good lyrics,
Yeah.
and because of that,
That-
Adam Knight
Yeah.
was able to help him out. Because
Now
that's
that-
the other side of this.
that
You know
is
what
the
I'm
other
saying?
side of it,
Hopefully,
yeah.
Adam Knight's a
Yeah.
guy that's going to go, you know what? I don't hear anything in this. If that's because I like those kind of
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Because that's who talks to me most of the time. They're like, we do not like your music. Go home, quit, retire. And so I did. I mean,
It's fun to have yes men around, but if you don't have some honesty, you're just
Agreed.
right into the wind. You are.
And that's the main thing is if people. Well, all I ask is if you do listen to it, listen to the lyrics. And if you ever get feedback, that's what I'd like to hear about.
Yeah.
Well, the song obviously, but the
Yeah.
lyrics as well. And before we go, a big shout out to the guys in the band. They didn't have to do what they're doing for me.
right.
And they're good friends. They've become really, really good friends, and I'm proud to be with them, and they're very good. And I have to say a shout out to my wife for all the support,
For
right?
tolerating you.
For tolerating it.
Yeah.
I can be very intolerable at times.
and TTYL. No, you wouldn't say that to her. Maybe you would. I don't know.
No. Yeah.
That was a joke.
I
Because you know,
as a
I
joke.
really love the fact that he said, "There's a girl in my video, but I never met her." that was my favorite.
it sounded a
That
little
was
suspicious.
awesome.
I'm
That
just
was
saying.
awesome.
There's actually a story behind it, but I don't know.
Ah! For the
That's
next
not
time.
bad. Yeah, we'll save it for next time.
Well, I was going to say, we'll catch that one on the next time. Well, hey, thanks so much, Tracy, for coming down.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
guys.
talking to us about the new album. It's about time. And like I say, thanks so much for the information, because we are always on the pursuit to help
Yeah.
musicians, lyricists,
Definitely.
authors, whatever it is you're out trying to make, man. We want to help you
Right.
And
figure out the
feel
path
free-
to make it happen.
Feel free to reach out to me on Facebook, guys, if you want Tracy Inman or Tracy Inman Band page on Facebook too, and then that's where our shows, whenever upcoming shows, we'll have it on there for sure.
There you
So-
go.
And thank you, Pigpen, for allowing us to ask some real questions for a change and get some information and not flying off the rail on some story about you being naked under an RV someplace.
Hey, there you go.
I can tell one of those if you want. I got a bunch of those.
That's kind of that "I'm Drunk Again" song. Some of that's a life experience.
Right? See,
Yeah.
he's got it right here. So hey,
I will say I'm disappointed. I do not see a paranormal song on here, so I'm expecting.
before we
one.
go,
hold on. Actually, Uncle Hank.
Okay, it could be. Uncle Hank.
You got to listen to Uncle Hank with
Okay.
a different ear than what some
Okay.
people do, and you will see the paranormal.
Uncle Hank is actually a rocking song. Check it out. It's kind of a Charlie Daniels thing, but the paranormal song. I actually did a paranormal song.
Oh.
Okay.
Go to YouTube. It's called Paranormal, and I wrote it. Unfortunately, it was like a month before Halloween because I wanted to get it on morning shows or talk shows. And it's about investigating. So everybody that's listening, if you're into the paranormal, check that song out. It's pretty cool. It's pretty catchy. This year, I'm really trying to get it out to radio stations, but it's not to be a single. it's to be definitely just something to play on a morning show or something just right around Halloween. It's a perfect Halloween song.
A seasonal song.
Yeah, check it out if you get a chance. You'll see what I'm talking
Excellent,
about.
excellent. All right,
I tried
right.
that once with a song called "Clowns Scare Me," and only your daughter listened to it. So
You know what? She was a huge fan of that song. She watched the video over and over, and now her and her friend are way into making videos.
Okay.
So we're gonna have them come in here, at some point and talk to them because they've been.
I'll sell it to her cheap.
Oh yeah, I'll sell it to her
There you
cheap,
go.
man. Everything I got for sale cheap. Hey, thanks again to our sponsors, Halpin Music, Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance. Thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks to Dennis Laird for coming down and hosting the show.
No.
And big thanks to Tracy Inman. Good
welcome.
to see you again, buddy. Best of
Yes.
luck to you, man.
Thank you.
Everybody get out and support local music and art.